Hello and welcome to Truckers World for another video. I hope you're all doing well out there. I'm doing okay myself, pretty good. Next week, surprisingly, they give me 5 days, which is really good, Monday to Friday. So much for this phasing out of drivers, which I've been hearing about. Good for me, so I'm quite happy that way. Okay, so today's video, we're going to be talking about bread delivery. Oh yes, this is an insight into Class 2 bread delivery. You'll have seen many of the trucks out there. I've got a friend who is a Class 2 driver who works for one of these companies. I'm not going to say which company it is, however, I will say that you see a lot of the wagons about and they're orange. Okay, so you should be able to guess that one. So anyway, this particular person's been there for quite a while. Okay, so when you've been there for quite a while, obviously you know the job inside out and you're quite used to it, so bear that in mind. However, he's told me as much as he can, and I'm going to obviously relay it to you guys out there, just to give you an insight, if ever you want to do that, because I've certainly thought about doing it. Lots of jobs out there, they're always coming up. So, generally, 4 AM start times. Quite early that, I'll be honest, with family life, etc. I'm not sure I could really commit to that, but for some people, it's not too bad. Usually, it's 4 till 1. Usually, you're done by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, for some people, that would really suit, wouldn't it? Quite often, it's 4 on, 4 off. That can differ. So 4 days on, and then you get 4 days off. It can differ that. And usually it's not a bad wage really, 28 grand upwards, It didn't tell me exactly the figures, but they're the figures that I've seen on the websites. So, quite a positive start. Usually driving the DAF wagons, the great DAF wagons. I've got mixed feelings about DAF wagons. Some are good, and some have been absolutely dreadful. How many drops do you do? Well, he told me a surprise in this. I was very surprised at this. 28 drops, he said, on average you do. That's an awful lot. That really is a multi-drop for a Class 2, isn't it? It really is. And that kind of put me off straight away when I was talking about that. Now, I've asked him, obviously, he's done the same round for a good few years. So he knows exactly where he's going. So obviously what you do, you've got your list of places where you go. And they're a combination of supermarkets, the bigger shops, like the medium shops, for example, like co-ops, stuff like that, and of course little shops as well. And they also do, which you've probably seen around, garages as well. So they'll do maybe your SO garages, Texaco. I've seen them on there as well. So it's quite a wide range of shops that you go to. And if you think about it, it's quite essential because bread. Everybody eats bread in England. So many people eat bread, don't they? So it's quite an essential product going out there. So 4 on, 4 off. And obviously what you do, and this was a surprise really, when you open up the back of the wagon, I was expecting this diff to be differently. I don't know why, but I just did. But the bread is on shelves on either side and it goes further back. And it's quite a fair bit. And it's not just bread. I think it's other bits of buns as well, stuff like that, And you have to pick your own orders when you get there. So he's got a sheet of paper and he'll go through each drop, and he'll have to pick from various areas which is on that order. And he says that that's the most thing that the new drivers struggle with a little bit. It's if you get into like a mid shop, it's quite a big order. You've got to take your time and pick the right ones, and it's knowing where things are. So yeah, absolutely, that's been quite a difficult issue for him. Now I've asked him about obviously finding locations, for example parking issues, which I'll come to in a minute. Obviously he knows his round quite well, but again that can cause a bit of an issue. Okay, so obviously let's go for pros and cons, if you will. Let's start with some pros. Let's be positive. So with this, it's job security, without a doubt. So many people have bread delivered. We all, well, I wouldn't say we all, but so many of us out there in England, we do eat bread, so you're always going to be quite secure in your job. And from what I've seen, I get to a shop maybe at 6 o'clock in the evening and a lot of the bread's not there. So I think it's good for job security. You do tend to get the same round, he's told me, and this is only this company, bear in mind, and it does make sense. It does make sense. You do tend to get your same round, which is really good because obviously you get to know where you're going. Now 28 drops is quite a lot, but they might be in a small area. and you'd be surprised that, you know, after your first week, you'll start remembering where places are, and before you know it, within a month, you'll probably know that round. You know, it's quite a lot. When he told me that 28 drops, thinking, oh my God, how many shops? You know, but it'd be surprising, you know, how soon you'll pick that up. It's just quite daunting at first, I think, you know, definitely. Also, it is job and knock. Now, he said 1 AM usually you're done by, but he's told me he's been finished before that on many occasions. Obviously, once you get used to the round, you know, job and knock, you're done, you're finished, that's it, you're back home. So that's not too bad, really. The positives are quite there. And I think also the positives as well, the money's not too bad either. You know, it's not too bad. And if you're with a reputable blue chip company, you know, they do tend to kind of do everything by the book, and that's a good thing as well when people do that. Okay, so some of the bad things, obviously, with 28 drops, that is quite busy. You know, you're in, you're out, and some people like that. Some people like to keep busy. I know many a driver who do not like to sit around. They like to keep busy, and that's fine, okay? And like I said before, you will get probably used to about those drops. Would it suit me? I'm not too sure, I'll be honest. I prefer my driving. That's just me. Parking issues. I've seen many of these particular company wagons parked on the side of the road, and they've got no choice. You know, I would probably say that a lot of them can get parking, like I say, within garages, you know, some of the middle supermarkets, mid-range shops on the high street. You know, there's always sometimes side parking for HGVs, which is good. But yeah, there will be, I would say, a few occasions where you're going to be just literally side of the road, and that's it. And that might cause a bit of an issue, obviously, depending where the road is, because sometimes if you're on the other side of the road and the shop's on the other side, opposite, you can't just simply, sometimes you can't just park on this side and walk across the road. Somehow you've got to find your way and get back on the other road to park outside the shop. It's happened to me a few times back in my early days. So, it's not always as easy as that sounds. You know, con, pro, I don't know with that one. You know, it depends how much you are. As far as the rotors go, like I say, depending who you are, you might like that 4 on 4 off. That's pretty good. It's not always like that, I guess. Picking your orders, that I'm surprised at that. I'll be honest. I would have thought that, and I said this to him, that they were already picked, all ready for you to just wheel on a little trolley down on a tail lift, which is normally how they're dealt with, and into the shop, and that's it. I'm surprised that you have to pick the orders yourself, and I think that would be a bit difficult at first. He told me that a lot of drivers, new drivers, they come and they don't last because of obviously a lot of order picking and stuff like that. I think that might be quite difficult, and you know, probably not the easiest way to work. But again, that'll be mixed opinions out there. For you guys who do that job, you might say to me it's absolutely a doddle after a while. So, you know, but I think it's quite daunting for new drivers. I could understand that without a doubt. Obviously, some other good news as well, just jumping in the cons there. You know, bread is not very heavy, so you're not going to be breaking your back. You're going to be floating a couple of things on a trolley, and away you go. And I think that's quite good as well, because obviously with the job I do, I'm pulling pallets and they're quite heavy. Does make a difference. And I think that's it really. So, you know, it's not too bad, depending, I think, if you stick at it. I think the first, you know, month, for example, doing that job, I would be quite daunted by it. But if you do get that chance to do it, and I believe that they do take on new drivers from what I've heard, so, you know, I believe that would be a pretty decent start. You certainly cut your teeth doing the job in, you know, certain areas, but it would train you up pretty well. And even if you did it for a month, I think that's not a bad start. I don't think it's for me personally, but I can tell you now, when I was looking in January, when work was a little bit quiet and I was a bit worried about I wouldn't get any here, I was certainly considering it. And I personally believe if I was put in that position where I felt like, you know, January, February, where everything's really quiet, then I feel, yeah, I probably could go on with that job and just bite my lip and get on with it for a few months and see how it goes. And you might be surprised on whether you like it or whether you don't like it. So there you go. There's an insight into bread delivery job on a Class 2. I hope you enjoyed the video. I just want to say again, thank you for all the subscribers. Really grateful. Trying to build it up. I've got plenty more videos coming as well. Okay, so thank you for watching and keep on trucking.